and a 1, and a 2. Alrighty, so we got our standardized monk today. Your classic Shaolin fighter who bows with you with ease and esteem one day and then kicks your absolute shit in the next second because you insulted his deity god. These people
Yes.
specialize in being naked and beating you with their fists, legs, and elbows. Maybe a headbutt too. Depends on your flavoring.
To me, that just sounds like a barbarian, but it knows actual fighting styles. Well, yeah, barbarian. I was thinking of my other, my Goliath barbarian.
The one that was the beast. But that's
The one that became
besides.
the fucking apocalypse creature.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Anyway, just so we'll just start getting right into this stuff right here. The magic of ki. Monks make a careful study of magical energy that most monastic traditions called ki. This energy is an element of the magic that suffuses the multiverse. Specifically, the elements that flow through the living bodies. Monks harness this power within themselves to create magical effects and exceed their physical body limitations. And some of their special attacks can hinder the flow of ki in their opponents. Using this energy, monks channel uncanny speed and strength into their unarmed strikes. As they gain experience, their martial training and their mastery of ki gives them more power over their bodies and the bodies of their food. Basically, they're massive dominatrixes.
mm.
By the end of the fight, you'll be calling them daddy. Alright. So, training and whatever that word is, because I'm a dumb American. Small walled cloisters dot the landscape of the worlds of D&D. Tiny refuges that flow from the ordinary of life, far from the flow of ordinary life. Wow, I can't talk. Where time seems to stand still, the monks who live there seek personal perfection through contemplation and rigorous training. Many entered the monastery as children, sent to live there when their parents died. Oh no, they're all orphans. When food couldn't be found to support them, or in return for their kindness that the monks had performed for their families. Some monks live entirely apart from the surrounding population, secluded from anything that might impede their spiritual progress. Others are sworn into isolation, emerging only to serve as spies or assassins at the command of their leader, a noble patron, or other mortal or divine powers. The majority of monks don't shun their neighbors, making frequent visits to nearby towns or villages and exchanging their services for food or other goods. As versatile warriors, monks often end up protecting their neighbors from monsters or tyrants. For a monk, becoming an adventurer means leaving a structured, communal lifestyle to become a wanderer. This can be a harsh transition, and monks don't undertake it lightly. Those who leave their cloisters take their work seriously, approaching their adventures as personal tests of their physical and spiritual growth. As a rule, monks care little for material wealth and are driven by a desire to accomplish a greater mission than merely slaying monsters and plundering their treasure. Ooh, that's a read. Anything you would like to add, Undead, before we start talking about some of the class features?
Hmm. Uh, as I hear about the monk described, it makes me think this is literally a monk, like a real life monk, but with unnatural fighting ability and and they're able to throw magic. What can I say?
Mm,
So far, this class is it's interesting, but it's also simple. You know?
yeah, it's one of the. It's simpler if you're looking at just the base class. Some of the specialized ways are quite interesting. Quite interesting.
Hmm.
By the way, you're not going to see the thing because it's going to be too much for the one screen, but I'm going to just talk about their martial arts. Starting at first level where they get to punch and kick you, they start at a D4, which at level 5 turns to a D6. At level 11 it turns to a D8. And then at level 17 turns to a D10. And this will typically work on all their monk weapons. Any kind of weapon that they wield, they're able to use these dies in place of their actual damage, unless it's
Hold
high.
on. It stays a D6 until level 11.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of follows the rule of like the fighter's extra attack, because he gets extra attack at level 5. At level 11, he gets another extra attack. But I mean, at level 20, he would get his final thing, but they get it just a little bit earlier.
Hmm. Fair enough.
It seems low, but it's
It,
you're supposed to
it
be
feels long.
like a kind of a battlefield person. Either way, like I said, like any kind of monk weapon you wield using them weapons, if their damage is lower than the martial arts die, I think you can actually use that, which is kind of nice, considering they are proficient in several things. But we'll talk about that in a minute. So, starting off with their class features, a monk will get a D8 hit die, leveling them out with the rogue character. It's a decent one. It makes sense for a person who's not supposed to be hit. In terms of their proficiencies, they have no proficiency in any armor.
Yeah.
They have proficiency in simple weapons and short swords. They get one tool or musical instrument of their choice. They have proficiency in dexterity and strength saving throws, so they're able to resist being moved and they're able to dodge giant explosions. They get to choose 2 skills from acrobatics, athletics, history, insight, religion, and stealth, which are all pretty decent. And then their starting equipment is a short sword, or a simple weapon, and then they get a choice between the Dungeoneering or the Explorer packs, and they automatically gain 10 darts.
10 darts.
It's a throwing weapon.
I knew that. It's just like, when you said darts, it makes me think, could we add poison onto that shit like in Elder Scrolls?
Well, you can. I believe in a lot of things you can like dip 10 items into a piece of poison when it's ammunition type, so I believe so. Although I think it only lasts for like a set period of time, so it'd be like, I'm about to fight this one guy. I'm gonna dip these all in poison.
Fair.
So
But,
anything interesting you want to talk about on their abilities and proficiencies, or you just want to get straight into the meat of their existence?
I knew that they were going to be proficient in some weapons. It's just, I don't know. The ones they chose for them were kind of unexpected. Like, short sword, maybe any simple weapon. That does sound right. But never really looked into this class, so hearing about it, I'm taken by surprise about from a few of these facts about them.
They got plenty more where it's come from, so you'll see what happens once we get there.
Oh, I'm hoping these guys just turn it into a fucking. They throw Falcon punches, but they also mix it up with fucking Luffy from One Piece. Be gum gum red Falcon punch.
Something like that.
Anyway, go on.
So, beginning at first level, they gain the
Right.
armored defense trait. Kind of like a barbarian, but I think theirs is better. While you are wearing no armor and not wielding a shield, your AC equals 10 plus your dexterity modifier plus your wisdom. Now, I do think this is actually, there's one thing difference here. I think a barbarian can wield a shield and gain it with this feature, where a monk cannot. But at the end of the thing, I still believe that a barbarian should typically have a two-hander, so that shield should really be a feature. Or you should have a
I
or something like that.
have a question.
Yes.
At the beginning of talking about martial arts, you said one of them you thought was better than the other, but to me it wasn't clear which one you thought was better.
Now, when you said martial arts, did you mean unarmored defense?
Shit. Yes. Sorry.
So, I
skimmed
think
over
the
I skimmed over and saw first
monks.
level.
I think the monk's unarmored defense is better. Even though the barbarian can use his and still get a shield bonus, I still think the monk's better because they use dexterity and wisdom for their dodging, which settles their their defensive score. Whereas the barbarian, who is more of a strength-based character, I know he could use ranged weapons, but I think he is a strength-based character. He needs weapons that require strength to actively use his rage. So him being a dex and con thing is kind of weird to me. I think he should be a strength and con, so that he just lives like his actual thing, just enduring the hits.
Hmm.
But I guess each their own. If it did work on that, he would, without a doubt, have the best unarmored defense. If it was the way I said it, because at 20th level, then he would have a base of what was that? I think it'd be 24 without a shield.
Hmm. Right, what would you rate unarmored defense?
Oh, for the monk right here, I'd rate it a 10.
You rated it 10?
Because, like I said, their dexterity is their damage, and their wisdom actually helps with their saving throws for like their stunning abilities. So they don't have any technically wasted stat here. If you go just dexterity and wisdom, you're not really wasting a point. You're gaining extra defense. You're getting a higher saving throw on your DCs.
Uh, I'm gonna have to agree and give it a 10. It's
Give it a 10.
first level, and I see no downsides to it. So 10.
All right. So coming up on a very long read, another thing they get at first level is their martial arts, the most dominantly known thing about the monks. I have gotten a hiccup out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
At first level, your practice of martial arts give you mastery of combat styles that use unarmed strikes and monk weapons, which are short swords and any simple weapon that doesn't have the two-handed or heavy property. You gain the following benefits while you are unarmed or wielding monk weapons and you aren't wearing armor or wielding a shield. You can use dexterity instead of strength for attacks and damage rolls of your unarmed strikes and monk weapons. You roll a d4 in place of normal damage of your unarmed strikes or monk weapons. This die changes as you gain levels in the monk thing, going from a d4 to a d10 at max. When you would use the attack action with an unarmed strike or a monk weapon on your turn, you can make one unarmed strike as a bonus action. For example, if you hit somebody with a quarterstaff, you can also make an unarmed strike as a bonus action, assuming you already haven't taken a bonus action on that turn. So immediately starting out, they can make 2 full attacks. So that's nice.
Alright. Alright.
Certain monasteries use specialized forms of monk weapons. For example, you might use a club that is 2 lengths of wood connected by a chain, called a nunchuck. Or nunchaku, as they want to call it. I know what it is. I'm stupid. Or a sickle with a shorter, straighter blade, a comma. Whatever name you use for your monk weapons, you can use the game statistics provided for the weapons in the weapons section.
Ooh.
So this is a scaling ability, which just gets stronger and stronger as you go up, and it's one of those options where, I can hit you without a weapon and still be doing just fine. I don't need to take an additional feat like Tavern Brawler, which would give me a d4 with a strength thing and make me a better grappler at the same time. Or, another thing you could do with that Tavern Brawler is if you took a giant turkey leg that you had taken a bite out, you could then bludgeon a man to death with that instead. You could canonically do that.
How would you rate it, though?
How would I rate it?
And this ability, how would you rate it?
So, immediately starting off, it gives you an extra attack with your bonus action, which I think at the start you don't really have anything to additionally do with your bonus action, so you're just going to be punching and punching anyway. You can use your dex instead of strength for your attacks, which gives you a wider selection what you can choose. You don't really have to use strength for things, even though it will make you technically weaker in certain things. And it has a scaling damage dice roll, so this is another thing I'd go ahead and give a 10.
I'm gonna say first level, all it does is give you a extra attack. There's nothing bad about this. Sorry, no. Yeah, I'm gonna go with 10 as well.
Now, this is
so far.
this combined with the unarmored defense of the actual monk does, like you had talked about how a barbarian, he would still have his armor class if he got captured, lost all his stuff, and break out. He would still technically be weaker than the monk in that situation. While he would have his rage and be able to punch you, the monk has an active damage die and would, in theory, have a better armored defense. And the monk will still have access to all their specialized key abilities.
Off the fucking bat, monk is having a lot of really good abilities with no real downsides. I feel like we're gonna find something that has problems, but Right now, all I'm seeing is goodness.
Alright. So, we then come to its second level ability, which starts gaining ki. At second level, your training allows you to harness the mystic energy of ki. Your access to this energy is represented by a number of ki points. Your monk level determines the number of ki points you have, so the max you can get is 20. You can spend these points to fuel various key features. You start knowing three: the flurry of blows, patient defense, and step of the wind. You can gain more key features as you gain levels in this class. When you spend a key point, it is unavailable until you finish a short or long rest, so you can get your key points back on a short rest. At the end of which, you draw all of your expended ki back into yourself. You must spend at least 30 minutes of rest meditating to regain your ki points. Some of your key features require you to target to make a saving throw to resist the feature's effects. Its calculation goes, it's 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your wisdom modifier. So as long as you got a decent wisdom and everything else, you're going to get up there. So hopping straight into the actual abilities that you get, which is Flurry of Blows, Patient Defense, and Step of the Wind. With the Flurry of Blows, immediately after you take your main attack action, you can spend 1 key point to take away your bonus action, but instead of making 1 hit, you make 2. Giving you, at second level, 3 hits, as long as you have key points. One of the other abilities, Patient Defense. You spend 1 key point to make the dodge action on your bonus action. Sure, this takes away one of your attacks, but you then have the ability to be less likely to get hit. And if you're level 5, you'll be able to attack twice anyway, and this is just another way to keep yourself safe. And then the final one you get at the second level is the Step of the Wind. You expend 1 key point to take the disengage action, which allows you to ignore opportunity attacks if they don't have Sentinel, or it allows you to take a dash action, which doubles your speed. It also doubles your jump distance, so that could also be a nice thing. And it makes this all a bonus action.
Huh. Okay, so I would like to say something about this. From what I'm hearing so far about the monk, it's when you play this class, you have so much going on, and if you play to your full potential, you are just a fucking whirlwind of attacks.
You're either a Gatling of attacks, you're a very good dodger, or you're very quick.
Exactly. Like, if you know what you're doing with this character, you are all over the place, and you can easily deal with a number of people on your own.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, unfortunately, it's another thing because a lot of the monk's initial abilities are just so good that none of them, at the moment, I can rank lower than a 10.
Like, I don't want to.
I could give it a 9 because of the key point limitation,
I mean,
especially at lower levels, but you get more as you level up, so it's one of those things like, I mean, yes, at level 20, I can do these 20 times, take a short rest, and then do it 20 more times in one day.
exactly. Like, want to give it. I want to be harsh on it. I want to be like firm on this and be judgmental to the class, but no, all I'm seeing is good shit. Like there's the key limitation, which you already brought up. There's the key limitation, but you get that shit back every short and I'm assuming long rest.
Yep, every short rest, every long rest, you get all of your key points back.
Oh man, like
Like, if for some reason you took 2 short rests in a day, you could have upwards of, 60 key points.
it's early level, it's useful, it's reasonable.
And it comes back on the simple rest as opposed to the I have to go utterly to bed. So, in a theory, it's better than a Barbarian Rage because it's further down the line where you get Stunning Strike. And since a Barbarian doesn't get his persistent rage until I think it was level 15,
Mm-hmm.
The monk could hit the barbarian, somehow stun him if he failed his con save, and then just wait until he no longer had his rage. Try to stun him again, and they could just wear out the barbarian's rage, and then he'd just be taking damage to normal.
I am gonna go ahead and give it a 10.
Mm.
You
10.
gonna give fuck everybody?
You have a few moments where you're kind of cutting out, my friend.
Oh, am I? Oh,
Yeah. You might want to adjust something just a little bit.
Any better?
I won't know until we continue further on.
Alright.
Alright. So, we're coming to the next ability at their second level, which is Unarmored Movement, which increases their speed by 10 while not wearing armor or wielding a shield. And furthermore, it increases as you reach certain monk levels. And there's another bonus to this that's going to come in at level 9, but I'm just going to put them all right here, which allows you to move along vertical surfaces and across liquids without falling during your move. Giving you the ability to wall run and water walk with your movement on your turn. And furthermore, if we go over here and look at it, starting at 2nd level when they gain this feature, they get 10 additional feet in their movement. At 6th level, it turns to 15. At 10th level, it turns to 20. At 14th level, it turns to 25, and it maxes out at 18th level at 30 additional feet, which in and of itself gives them 60 feet of movement, ignoring any kind of other feature. If they were, let's say it's a tabaxi, that makes it 70, give them mobile feet, it gives them 80, so if they were to dash, they'd have 160 feet of movement, which they can make as a bonus action. They could be anywhere, and they could run across a small lake without getting wet.
My God.
Or they can run up that one tower and save the princess without her having to let her hair down to save you.
Rapunzel. Actually, never mind. Give me. I'll be right up.
Rapunzel. Wait, no, actually, you don't watch that. I'll be right up. There's no
I got
water
this.
in this tower.
How have you been surviving up there? Damn it! But
Rain.
why is Monk actually so fucking good?
Like all their beginning abilities are kind of like, yes, I'm talking about it only once, and it starts off kind of low, but then it gets better, and then it gets an additional feature to it.
Like
the only real thing I'd have to be disbarred on is, like, one, you can't really wear armor, but if you got good dex and wisdom up there, it's good, and you can't wield a shield regardless. Maybe if I could still wield a shield, maybe there's something I could be like, yeah, that's right, but still, with the amount of mobility you get overall in the entirety of the thing, and just the fact that you can run up and along walls. Say there's a chasm there that your remarkable athlete, champion, fighter can't jump over because it's like 1 foot farther than he can jump, so you just look at the wall and you just run across that way, and then you laugh at him.
Like right now, I'm actually hoping that there's some bullshit abilities that don't really do anything, so I can be harsh to this class.
Well, I mean, the further we go around, because in reality, the monk is a very... They're like the hit and run master. And I know what your friend says. He says he hates the monk, but in reality, these abilities are actually fantastic.
They aren't bad. Like I remember people talking about the deflect missiles. Yeah, I'm seeing that ability right there. I'm excited to read about it.
So, at 3rd level, you gain your monasteric traditions, but we don't talk about those in this video. We're just talking about base monk. So we're going to skip that, and we're going to hop right into deflect missiles, which they get at 3rd level. You can use your reaction to deflect or catch a missile when you are hit by a ranged weapon attack. When you do so, the damage you take from the attack is reduced by a d10, plus your dex, plus your monk level. So at maximum, if you say that 20 dexterity, it'd be, what is that, 35 reduction to a single ranged hit. And if you And if you were to be attacked by something like that and you reduce the damage to 0, you're allowed to catch the missile if it's small enough for you to hold in one hand, and you have one free hand. And if you're a standard monk, you're going to have at least one free hand because you're going to be throwing hands. If you catch a missile in this way, you can expend one key point to make a ranged attack with a weapon or piece of ammunition you just caught. So if they shoot me with an arrow or they happen to shoot me in a gun and I catch that bullet, I can then throw it back at them using my proficiency regardless of my weapon proficiencies. It counts as a monk weapon for the attack, which has a normal range of 20 feet and a long range of 60 feet. So it could have... Depending on how far away, they might have a disadvantage on the attack roll, unless you take like sharpshooter for whatever reason. Maybe use a lot of darts as a character, but no. Then you can throw it back and using whatever your monk martial art die is. Say it's still at this level. It's a D4 plus your dexterity as you hit them back.
Like, why is this man starting to sound like Goku?
I mean, I don't know. No, but. Well, I forget which one it is. There is one that gains a minor, like, Hadouken or mini Kamehameha or whatever it is. But, well, we'll worry about that later. I think it's the same.
Hadouken.
Oh, wait, no. You get to reduce the damage by a D10 plus Dex plus your monk level. At lower levels, it's for the most part, you're still going to reduce it. And at higher levels, yeah, there's a few attacks that might do that much damage. But if anyone tries to hit you with a ranged attack from a bow of any kind and you are a high level monk, you're not really going to have to roll well. You're just going to say, nope, throw that shit away. Because if a guy shoots you with a longbow at level 20 and it only does 10 damage at max, I mean, the monk's level is going to be like, nope.
Mm-hmm.
It does use reaction, so you won't be able to, do opportunity attacks if someone comes near you or something like that, which it's not a downside. I'm not really calling that a downside because blah blah blah. And the range on the throwback. No, this one I'll give a 9 just because it works in a shorter range. I can't give this thing perfect 10s, it'll make me feel bad. But it's still a 10 out of 10 ability, but I'm going to give it a 9 just because because there are a few things where instead of doing that, you should just use the long range. Just give it a 60 feet. If they were further than that, then you shouldn't even do it. Because, I mean, if I'm going to have disadvantage on the attack and blah, blah, and if it's just going to be a D4, I'm not really going to waste my key point to throw it back there.
I'm gonna go the same route, give it a 9. 1, because I don't want to give everything a 10. 2, because 60 feet is a long distance, but I can see...
longbows have significantly longer, even a short bow has a longer distance than that. I think a crossbow most of the time has a longer distance than that.
Yeah.
So you can be attacked from outside your range. And it's one of those things that you just like, bam. And now, I gotta note specifically that it also says, when you are hit by a ranged weapon attack. I don't think this will work on any kind of spell. Like, if you get hit with a firebolt, I don't think you're allowed to deflect that.
No.
Because it says ranged weapon, doesn't say ranged spell attack. So if you get hit by a fireball and try to deflect that, you're just gonna burn your hand. So I can more reasonably give this a 9.
You're not gonna pull a fucking Kung Fu Panda 2, catch the fireball and throw it away.
Now, to be fair, I'm pretty sure that was a cannonball, but
it was some kind of like highly explosive firework.
I mean, it's still a physical object. Yeah.
It's still a ball of fire, though.
And again, at low levels, because even at low levels, if you say you roll a 1 plus your 5 plus your monk level, that's only going to be, 7? And sometimes you can still take damage from that, and it's still like, ow. I mean, obviously, at higher levels, most of those ranged attacks, you're going to ignore it just by your level in general. So, yeah.
9.
Next up at level 4, they get their ability score improvements. They get one at level 4, 8, 12, 16, and 19th level. We're not going to worry about that because we're not going to focus on anything. We're just going to say they're maxed out their stats, no feats, even though there are a few good feats. Coming to their first 4th level ability, called Slow Fall. You can use your reaction whenever you fall to reduce the falling damage you take by amount equal to 5 times your monk level. So at level 20, 5 times 20 is 100, and they can minus 100 damage of fall damage at their max level. Which, I mean, if you're falling from that
Hmm.
far of a height, you're kind of stupid, but that's beside the point. And all fall damage is maxed out at 20d6, I believe. And you take a d6 of fall damage for every 10 feet you fall.
I, hmm. This ability is odd to me. It's oddly specific, but
I mean, let's look at this. You're back in Rapunzel's tower. You're trying to get her out of there, and she's worried about you breaking your legs on the fall. And you're like, nah, I got this. And you jump out, her in your arms, and you land on the ground like a feather. And she's like, yeah, I'm okay.
she's screaming. She's screaming. Her fucking throat is scratched up. She's like, ah! You get to the ground. You're like, why are you screaming? She
Just
she
lands on his
just
feet.
starts
Just
punching you in the
walking.
face.
She can try, but you're probably dodging it like a pro.
Fucking awesome.
Still holding her and everything. She just throw her in right there and just dodge. Just moving your
Uh,
neck.
do you think Goku is a fucking masochist? Like he can dodge Chi Chi's punches, but he takes those hits.
The real question is, do those hits even hurt him?
They leave a fucking goose egg on his head. Ah.
The power of a woman's scorn. Not even a Super Saiyan God can stop that.
Oh fuck. But slow fall. I don't I don't see anything wrong with this, but I don't see myself using it
That's the thing. I don't see
all the
myself
time.
unless something very unless a dragon picks me up and just throws me to the ground.
Uh, I'm gonna give it 8 just because I don't see myself using it all the time.
You gonna give it an 8? Yeah, I'll stick with that. I'll give it an 8. But nah, I mean, yes, it uses reaction, but if you're taking, say you are falling for that 20d6 damage at 4th level, if you do end up taking that, you're probably going to go down either way, but there is the potential that this saves you from being outright murdered. Maybe.
Uh, uh,
Probably not. You probably still will die, because that is at max 120 damage, and with a d8 hit die.
I have a question.
So
Are all
you have
scores
32
the
plus whatever your
same?
con is. What's now?
Are all of our scores the same? So
Yes. I don't know why you're asking me. You can see it right there.
it's hard to read. That didn't
That
increase.
that didn't that didn't help at all.
Okay, so to anyone wondering what the fuck we're talking about, Saint always keeps like a little scoreboard what we uh of what we mark on the podcast. Right now, he's trying to enlarge the numbers so I can see.
Nope, can't do it. So you're just gonna have to squint your eyes a little bit harder. Either way, you get to level 5, and once again, as a martial class other than the rogue, you gain the extra attack feature. Whenever you take the attack action, you can attack twice instead of once. Again, this is one of those things where I'm comparing it to the fighter who gets 4 extra attacks, so I am going to rate it lower than a 10 just because there is better out there. I'm going to give it a 7 because of the feature. But then if I do take a look, you at 5th level of the monk can make 4 attacks with Flurry of Blows.
I mean,
Although it is expending their ki, yes, whereas a fighter would just keep hitting you and hitting you. But the monk still gets his things back. But I'm just gonna call it an even 7.
like, I don't see why I would, and if I ever have, I might have been on drugs, but I can't really give extra attack on any class
Less than a 10.
A less than a 10, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
maybe I'm being biased, but like I said, you just because there is someone who does it better is the only reason I
I mean,
mark it lower.
there's situations where you could. It's like, oh, I could have gotten an earlier level. I could have got two extra, but it's an extra attack. You can't really complain about it.
You can't complain, but you can compare.
You can compare, but fuck you being picky.
Another thing they get at level 5 is one of the most deadly things in their kit, the Stunning Strike. You can interfere with the flow of ki in an opponent's body. When you hit another creature with a melee weapon attack, you can expend one ki point to attempt a Stunning Strike. The target must succeed a Constitution saving throw or be stunned until the end of your next turn. And just for the sake of it, a stunned target, a creature is considered incapacitated, can't move, and they can only speak falteringly. They automatically fail strength and dexterity saving throws, and attack rolls against said creature have advantage.
Hmm.
So you get a guy stunned and put a rogue next to him. Every hit he gets on that guy is gonna be, well, the first hit he gets on that guy is gonna be a sneak attack, and then blah blah blah. Unless it's like I think it's a scout who gets an additional sneak attack on their turn. But we're not gonna worry about that. So, bam, you pop him on your first hit, use a Stunning Strike, he gets stunned, and then you hit him again, then you flurry of blows, the Barbarian takes his turn, then the Fighter takes his turn with an Action Surge, then the Rogue stabs him once, then it comes back to your turn and you pop him 4 more times, and if he's not dead, well, oh shit. Because it doesn't end on their turn, it ends on your next turn, so you get your full turn once you get it, and then they'll be unstunned on theirs.
Uh, I'm gonna I'm gonna throw this one an 8. Like,
And throw it at 8.
I see this being very useful, but I feel like at times it could be inconvenient.
I mean, yes, if you were attacking a fighter or a barbarian who have proficiency in these, it's going to be a little harder to do it to them. There are
That's pretty
someone
good.
with a resilience is going to be a thing. There are creatures that are immune to being stunned. And also, you have to hit the target. But that also being said, if you hit the target 4 times and you expend 4 ki points each time to try and stun them, they're going to eventually muck up one of their saving throws. Because you can hit any hit you do. It can be all 4 hits on your turn. Although that will be all your ki points right there at level 5. Because it'll be 1 punch to try and stun them, 2 punch to try and stun them. That's 2 ki points. Then you use another ki point to use flurry of blows. And then you hit them 2 more times. So.
Hmm.
That's all 5 your ki points right there. But you know, a stun on a person is a legendary bitch slap.
uh, like, well, wait. I'm sorry. When you said legendary bitch slap, I thought of what's it called? Russian slap boxing.
It probably is. I know what it is. I just don't know what it actually is called.
That
When
man
they sit across the table and just horse slap the other one.
that one man that literally slapped a watermelon into pieces. If no one knows what I'm talking about, look up slap boxing, and there's this man that literally he has his friend hold up a watermelon, and in one slap he scatters that thing like it got shot by a shotgun. Oh, it's hilarious. Also, it's horrifying when you actually see that man slap a person.
I give it a 9 just because it's a very good thing that gives everyone a chance to just harm a guy. Because your mage is going to be making his firebolt, or your warlock's going to be making his eldritch blast with advantage. Your sorcerer's going to do his advantage. Your archer, your ranger. Every attack that comes his way with an attack roll is going to be an advantage. Because even the rogue's ability to not be advantage against, it doesn't help when he's incapacitated. Which stun is incapacitation. And he does not have that proficiency in those con saves.
I'm still gonna give it an 8. Like, I see situations where this technique would ultimately fail. Like, if your dungeon master is a fucking how do you pronounce it, sadist,
Hmm.
if he's a fucking sadist and he loves to watch you suffer, he's going to give you opponents in your campaign that have
Immunities.
they, either immunities or fucking advantages on what was it, Constitution saving rolls.
Yeah.
Oh, like if your DM does not like you, he's gonna throw that shit at you, and this ability is just gonna be a hassle. It's still a good ability, but it, there are situations where it won't be difficult. I
So
mean,
no, no.
and
Coming up
no, I
to
was just gonna say key
sixth,
powered or key
sixth.
empowered.
Yeah, yeah, you're good. At sixth level, as he said, the key empowered strikes. Your unarmed strikes count as magical for the purposes of overcoming resistance and immunity to non-magical attacks and damage. So, say you were punching a ghost, you can actually now punch him, and he's not going to be laughing at your inability thing. Your fists are now considered a magic weapon. Things that are
Wait, I
resistant to
remember hearing
non-magical
about
blunt,
this.
piercing, or slashing damage, your karate chops, your nut kicks, and your bitch slaps will now hurt it just the same as it would a barbarian.
I'm
Not
sorry, I
really, because he's
interrupted
still
you about
resistant.
that. It's just the whole punching ghost thing. I just loved it. I wish I could do that in Dark Souls 1 without. Wait. Oh no.
You could punch ghosts in Dark Souls 1, you just gotta use that
Yeah.
transient curse and then just go up and pray it
Yeah.
actually dies eventually.
Yeah, you had to have that fucking crystal that you could crush. That I always found that annoying. Yeah, I have a whole story behind that, but I'm gonna save that for later. Uh,
Anyway. But no, key powered strikes, 10 out of 10 ability, you, being able to overcome people's resistances and immunities to the standardized piece of your attacks. You can't spit at it. I mean, you
it,
can, but you'd be stupid.
the only problem I see for this ability is it's level 6, but that's a fair level for being
That's
ghosts in the
balancing.
deck.
Yeah, that's balancing.
Yeah, I was about to say it's balancing. It's like, oh no, I want that ability now, but it's balancing. So
Well, and you
I,
gotta say, it doesn't
uh,
make your things a +1. It just makes them considered magical. So,
yeah, still, I have to give it a 10 as well.
yeah. So we see unarmed movement increase at level 6, but we're gonna ignore that because I talked about it once. And then they get another ability, which I'm already gonna say is a 10 out of 10 because we call it the same thing for rogue. They get evasion. So they
Ooh.
are able to, when they make a dexterity saving throw, that's to reduce a type of thing like a fireball or lightning wrist to half damage. They can instead take no damage if they succeed, or only half if they fail. And they are another class that has proficiency in dexterity saving throws, so they're more likely going to make that save, so they're not going to take any damage from them. Like I said, I can't really say no. It has to be a 10 out of 10 because the ability to reduce something to 0 if you're at 1 HP is a godsend.
I, I can't really talk bad about this one either. I, we had evasion on what, the rogue.
It was the rogue, yes. And it was a immediate 10 out of 10.
I can't. I I feel like I might have judged this one a little bit before, but like looking at it again, I
You
I
really didn't judge it before. You were just like, there's no way I can give this anything other than 10.
and then I like looking at it, it's just like nothing bad comes out of this. So
Even if you fail, it's still only half damage. So
yeah,
I tripped over a rock and dodged most of it, but now my toes are on fire.
yeah, I feel like I compared this to some of the barbarians' ability, the whole being
Yeah,
in,
danger sense.
yeah.
Of course, they get a level 2, which is just advantage on these saving throws, but it's not a like almost immunity. But no, it's still a good thing.
Fucking taking half damage from fireball or fucking dragon's lightning breath. Yeah, I'm gonna have to give this a 10.
Mm-hmm. Another thing they get at level 7, Stillness of Mind. You can use your action to end one effect on yourself that is causing you to be charmed or frightened. So charmed is a charmed creature won't attack the charmer or target the charmer with harmful abilities or magical effects. The charmer has advantage on any ability check to interact socially with the creature. So if you're charmed, people have advantage on the persuasion, intimidation, or deception rolls against you, and you can't hurt them.
Hmm.
Whereas frightened is a frightened creature has disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls while near the source of what it's scared of, and they will not willingly move closer to what their fear is. So if that dragon's fright presence scares you, you're going to have a disadvantage on most things in its presence, and you will not take another step closer to that. And this just allows you to use your action to be like, no, you no control me now. So if a vampire happens to charm your mind, you can just be like, nah, I don't think so. If the barbarian takes a really loud shit and scares you in the other room, you're like, nah, I can't smell it, it's fine.
Charmed is an ability that I need to try and use more. But I, I, why is the monk
undead.
any better?
A little bit.
All right, so but is the monk so good? Like these abilities have no fucking downsides.
I mean, yes, this is an action, and say maybe they scared you again or charmed you again. It's just you're just gonna sit there with a perpetual thing of nope, 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 nope. 1 second you're horny, the next second you're not. Another second you're frightened, next second you're not. It's a weird thing. But no, it's a good ability. I'm gonna give it an 8 because if I resist it on the first hand, this ability it's never gonna be like any use to me. Because as a monk, you're gonna, I think, charm typically comes off of your wisdom score, maybe even frightened. I can't remember exactly. I think those are usually a wisdom saving throw. You're gonna have a +4 or 5 because of your wisdom score, so you're gonna have a slightly better chance of, resisting it. And there is a thing kind of further down the line which makes it even more likely for you to resist it. But I'm not gonna say that just yet. So actually, thinking more on it, I'm going to lower my score down to a 7.
I'm gonna give it a 9 because I feel like there's more ground ability called Stillness of Mind could cover,
Mm-hmm.
but it's just it's a good ability. Like, yeah, I've dealt with a lot of enemies that could charm me, and I've dealt with a lot of enemies that could frighten me. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 9. This ability is something I feel like I would use a lot.
So at level 9, they get another unarmored movement improvement, which allows them to do the vertical surfaces and across the liquids, but I already talked about that, so we're going to ignore that. Then we come to level 10, Purity of Body. Your mastery of ki flowing through you makes you immune to disease and poison.
Fucking 10. God damn it.
Like if it was just immunity to disease, I could be like, I mean, how often am I gonna get disease and whatnot? I got Constitution saving throws, we got medical things, we got clerics with curing spells and whatnot. But the immunity to poison, I'm pretty sure this includes this poison damage, the poisoned effect. So you, like, if you open up a chest and it shoots out a big plume of poison right in your face, you're like, whew, that stinks, and then continue rifling through it like nothing else, while the rogue behind you who had opened it for you just is slowly dying from the cyanide. He just laid the fuck out and spewing up spittle and shit, choking to death, and you're like, "Ooh, I found a potion." Oh, you're dying.
Ugh.
Which at this point the monk would be very annoying for certain poison-based monsters.
Like
But no.
I feel like I feel like this ability is just something Warforged gets off off the bat just for being Warforged.
I think they're
But
immune to disease, but I don't think they're immune to poison. I think they're resistant nowadays.
resistant.
Just like the dwarf who's resistant. Although I could be wrong.
Ah,
I could be wrong, you know. I'll do the unprofessional thing and I'll take a quick gander, I guess.
while you do that, it makes me the whole yeah, I know that Argonians and Elder Scrolls are more resistant than they are immune, but still, it makes me think of that. And
Yeah. So yeah, they're immune to disease and resistant to poison.
resistant poison. Ah. But no, whoever doesn't know, I love the Elder Scrolls series, and no matter what game I play the Argonian. And it not only is it fun because yeah, I don't have to worry about a lot of stuff. It's fun because kind of like how Saint just said, open a trap drawer, gets poison mist spewed in my face. I'm like, oh, that's gross. This drawer has not been opened in a while, and then I just keep on going.
Yeah, but the best
Love it.
Argonian was in Oblivion, where he was straight immune to disease and poison. Well, he was immune to poison, I think half resistant to disease, but that's beside the point.
But yeah,
He got weaker in the next game, but that's beside the point.
another straight up 10 for me.
So at level 10, we get another improvement to our movement to 20 feet of speed, but we're not worrying about that. Going to level 13, Tongue of the Sun and Moon. You learn to touch the key of other minds so that you understand all spoken languages. Moreover, any creature that can understand a language can understand what you say. So this is a social thing. So if you have a if you're talking to a man who knows Infernal, you're gonna understand that, and then you turn around and talk to a Celestial, you're gonna understand that, and they're gonna understand you. In fact,
10.
you're gonna 10.
Why do I love this class so much?
Yeah, why haven't you played it?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't fucking research things. I.
Yeah, which is a lovely thing about this little series we're doing, because we're going through and we're learning just the basics of the classes. Because this is just the basics. We're not learning about any of the special things they're getting from their other, like specialized classes. This is just the base monk. In all reality, I think just the base monk would probably be the most powerful creature.
Like,
yes, the barbarian's gonna have like 200 plus health, but the monk is gonna have a lot of stuff to really deal with. Blah blah blah.
I might make a monk character tonight.
I make a monk character. I don't know. A monk character for Hatter's thing.
Probably. I was about to say I'm probably gonna make it for his shit.
So no, like it's just a social thing, but the ability to now the only thing I'm actually gonna give it an 8 because I'm gonna give it an 8, not 18, because it unlike the because if you were 13 levels of monk and like 2 levels of warlock, you could also have Eyes of the Runekeeper, which allows you to read all languages. So in what the Tongue and Sun and Moon, it just lets you understand and speak all languages, but you will still be quite illiterate when it comes to reading them. That said, it's still a massive ability.
Yeah, I was gonna say I still find this incredibly useful. Like, this is just for being. This is just for leveling up in a class. This isn't you taking any special abilities. It's not you being like, "Oh, I want this or this." No, it just gives it to you when you get to level 13. All you have to do is play this character, and you will eventually be able to talk. I mean, you could talk to a dead civilization and be like, Oh yeah, what's good? What's happening?
How do you know our language, stranger? I
Oh,
have
I'm
no
a
idea.
monk.
I'm a monk.
Like that's your answer for everything. How the fuck did you just? I'm a monk.
No, I get it though. The DM's trying to get you to where you can't understand this language. Don't worry, I'm a monk. I can understand all spoken languages. Well, unfortunately for you, they know sign language.
I mean, wait, a minute,
I'm
that's
talented in the
still
art of
hold on.
throwing
That
hands.
you really are though. Isn't that still considered a language though? Like,
It's a language, but it's not a spoken language. They understand all spoken. They can't read or understand civilizations, but they can speak them and understand them.
I I don't know. I feel like sign language would still count as not auditory but verbal.
So all those deaf people who have to learn sign language are
Like, yeah, like no, deaf people they don't they
hey,
I I used to
it's a visual thing. It's not spoken.
mm,
I know what you're trying to say, but
mm,
it's all visual.
yeah, yeah, it's I don't know. For me, it feels like they see it and they don't read it. They see it and they're like, that's
Gibberish.
I feel, I feel I feel like that's how they perceive sound. They see it. I might be bad nonsense. I'm most like
Just
nonsense.
imagine someone gets cursed with a spell that just makes their only way they can speak is by moaning. So the monk goes up to that person and then they just talk to each other and nothing but moans.
And it's not even like groaning moaning. It's just full on sexual.
Exactly. You.
You hear a fucking oh yeah in the distance. Oh
Ooh.
damn it! I'm sorry for being so fucking stupid on this. Continue to Diamond Soul.
Yes, we get the Diamond Soul at 14th level, which is one of the reasons why I kind of rank the Slippery Mind of the Rogue so low.
Mm-hmm.
At 14th level, your Mastery Key grants you proficiency in every saving throw, so now you are proficient in Strength, Dex, Con, Wisdom, Int, and Charisma saving throws. And further, when you fail a saving throw, you can spend one of your key points to reroll it and take the second result. Your key points come back on a short rest. You're gonna
10.
be able. Yes,
What
this
the
one.
fuck?
This one I can happily give a 10. I can happily give it a 10 because, yes, I still can't choose between the rolls, but specifically it says when you fail, just like the Abdominal. So technically I should have ranked the Abdominal a little higher because it says when you fail, you can re-roll it. But there's not much to say. Just like, wow, I got proficiency in all saving throws. So now they're trying to poison me, but you know what? I'm actually immune, so I don't have to worry about that. You're trying to charm me. Hey, I'm actually quite resistant to that. Hey, you're trying to make me have a brain aneurysm. I'm resistant to that too. Oh, your words are dangerous. Hey, guess what? So are mine. Basically, you just tell that guy to fuck off.
Hey,
And Armor, I'm gonna kind of move just a wee bit faster because we are coming up on an hour here on Dead. So.
all right, yeah, that's fair. I
Oh,
kind of I kind of set us off track.
hold on. I clicked the button. So we were at the Diamond Soul. Unarmored movement increased your speed a little bit, so 25 feet. Not talking about that. At 15th level, you gain Timeless Body. Your key sustains you so that you no longer suffer the frailty of old age, and you cannot be magically aged. You can still die of old age, however. In addition, you no longer need food or water.
10.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna throw them at it at this point.
Yeah, because not needing food and water, so if you do get trapped and thrown in prison for however long, you're not going to die of starvation or lack of thirst, and you're going to be 100 years old and you're still going to be doing backflips and side blade kicks and front forward kicks into people's faces, and there aren't a lot of things that can age you, but the ones that do can basically take you from haha to Going to level 18, we're at the empty body. You can use your action to spend 4 key points to become invisible for a minute. And you also have resistance to all damage but force. Additionally, you can spend 8 key points to cast astral projection without needing material components. When you do so, you can't take any other creatures with you. So, let me take a quick look at what astral projection is here.
Oh, it's being able to.
It casts a 9th level spell. You basically, it's when in the, I forget which Marvel movie it was, but it was when Hulk got his spirit punched out of himself. So you take a small astral trip. Now, the turning invisible for a minute, it's pretty nice, and gaining all that resistance to all these damages, it's pretty good. The astral projection, I don't really have a huge care for, because it does leave your mortal body back there in danger, depending on where it is. So this one I'm going to rank 7, just because yes, turning invisible, lovely, and with the bonus resistances, that's fine, but at the end of the day, it's not the best thing I care about.
Like, okay, so turning invisible, fucking amazing in my book. Astral projection, if it means what I know astral projection to be, it's a lot more useful than what you think, say.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to give I'm going to be harsh and say the key cost is kind of high. I know you're at the 18th level. I know that you got a lot of stuff to regenerate your key, or you just have a bunch. I'm gonna give it a 9. It's gonna be a strong 9 because I see these abilities as overly, just straight up overpowered.
Now, the one thing about the astral projection, you are tethered to your body with a cord, and if that cord gets cut by something specific, you die instantly. So there is a kind of risk. And yes, the key points are high, but you're going to give it a 9?
I'm giving it a 9.
Alrighty. So, skipping back over this, there's another armor movement increase, giving you your final upgrade to 30, but we're not caring about that. At 20th level, at the pristine of all existence, you gain perfect self. When you roll for initiative and have no key points remaining, you automatically gain 4 of them. Just gonna give it a 9. You could always want more. That is a decent percentage. That is 20%. That's 20%.
For something that's a level 20,
it's a little underwhelming. It's kind of underwhelming.
It's called perfect self. I know that's gonna help you in combat a lot, but
yeah, I took a short rest before this combat.
And it's just I power nap your days.
7. I'm gonna be at 7.
But no,
because even the other kind of top tier things, it's kind of
it's very underwhelming.
There's a lot of things before level 20 in this that you could have put at, you could have put all the saving throws at level 20, and I would have been happier.
One, it's level 20. 2, it's a ability called perfect self. Does that upset anyone else?
I would have just called it inner focus.
But it'll help you in combat. But for just being so fucking not living up to the hype of what we had before that, I'm gonna give it an 8.
That's still pretty high.
It's pretty high, but they disappointed me at the end there.
So we're going to run through these other things real quick. There are 4 optional class features which you can get at different levels.
Right.
The first one being dedicated weapon, which you gain at 2nd level. You train yourself to use a variety of weapons as a monk, not just simple melee weapons and short swords. Whenever you finish a short or long rest, you can touch one weapon, focus your key on it, and then count that weapon as a monk weapon until you use the feature again. The chosen weapon must meet these criteria. The weapon must be a simple or martial weapon. You must be proficient with it, and it must lack the heavy and special properties.
7.
7. I I can't really rank this good because technically any of the weapons that you're going to use, like unless you take a feat that makes you proficient in a martial weapon, you're not going to be able to use this feature on it because he's not proficient with any martial weapon. He's proficient with simple weapons and short swords.
Like,
So he's already proficient, and for the most part, they're already going to count as monk weapons.
the
So
only reason I am giving this such a high score is because I can see a lot of situations where, for no other reason than yes and bullshit, it saves them.
I mean, like I said, if it has to be a weapon that I'm proficient with, I'm already using that as a monk weapon, and that's just
So
my
yeah,
biggest issue.
6.
So I'm gonna give it a 4. So
I'm gonna give it a 6. I see that it could help, but anyway, key fueled attack.
if you spend one key point or more as part of your action on your turn, you can make one attack with an unarmed strike or a monk weapon as a bonus action before the end of the turn, which confuses me, considering at
6.
first, yeah, considering at first level when you would take the attack action, you can already use another attack action as a bonus action. I guess what it's showing is you can use a monk weapon as opposed to just your unarmed strike, so it does give it a little wider thing, but you have to spend
The
a key point. So in reality, I don't like this. I'm gonna give it another 4.
These optional ones are
Detrimental.
like the main ones. They're like, oh yeah, every time. But these are kind of they're mediocre.
Yeah. So, but the quicken healing. As an action, you can spend 2 key points and roll a martial arts die. You regain a number of hit points equal to the number rolled plus your proficiency bonus. So, yes, at 4th level, it's still pretty low. It's going to be a D4 plus 2, but that's still some healing that you can get back on a short rest. You can get, say you're at 1 HP and you have all your key points left. So go ahead, use all your key points. Which at this you're gonna have 2 uses. So you're gonna get, what is it? It's gonna be 8 plus 4. You're gonna get 12 HP back, and then you're gonna take your short rest, gain whatever you have left back by using less of your hit die, and then you're gonna get all your key points back. So this one I can give it a nice. I'm gonna give it a 7.
Sam here. I'm going with 7. This is
It's a little better, but it's still kind of underwhelming.
yeah.
I mean, make it 1 key point, and sure, I'll be like, yeah, okay, I'm fine with that. And it is still an action.
Ones are weird.
It's still an action, so it's like, it's more of an out of combat thing. Because I'm not gonna really just sit there in front of the enemy and be like, oh, hold on a second, I'm gonna do a quick heal and then get hit. I'm gonna heal 6 HP, and then he's gonna hit me with 8 damage and knock me out anyway. And then at 5th level, when you miss it with an attack roll, it's called Focused Aim. You can spend 1 to 3 key points to increase the attack roll by 2 for each key point, maxing out at plus 6, potentially turning it from a miss to a hit. So it's kind of a meta thing. So say a guy hit it with a 14, but you miss with a 13, so you spend 1 key point to increase it by 2 and go ahead and get a 15 and hit it. It could be a waste of key points, depending on the situation, because I mean, if it's a full health enemy and I just missed it on my first attack, I'm not gonna worry about that. But if we've been fighting through and through, I got allies down and whatnot, and it's me versus him, and this is like, I'm on my last couple of key points, he's on his last couple of HP. I'm probably gonna go ahead and use my key points to try and end this fight, because I know I'll probably go down if I don't. But I'm just gonna give it a 6.
Hey.
Now, I do have to mention, though, we are being underwhelmed by these, but these are 1 to 5th level, and we're looking at all the other higher level abilities of the monk that are just fan-fucking-tastic, other than the perk itself. So we are looking at it through a clouded lens,
Like
but still at
these,
the same time, it's kind of...
they're decent abilities, and yeah, we're kind of being like, because we saw all the other abilities. But still, this is This last one, I'm kind of in between 5 and 6.
So you.
I'm gonna give it 6 just because it's fifth level.
Mhm. Also, I do have to mention, I think the monk so far has had the most standardized abilities of any class.
Oh yeah, we praised this fucking class.
Either way, in my terms of all kind of things for this one, I think the three things I liked best was the Diamond Soul being at the top, the deflect missiles being at second place, and then its martial arts being at third place, just because it gives you all that extra stuff.
Which ones did I give 10? Well, we're going for top
It would
three,
be,
right?
it would be yes, it'd be easier for me to tell you which things you did not give 10.
Or are
It's
we
just
we talking about things we don't like?
no, we're talking about the things we like the most.
But you just want me to go over the things I didn't like?
No, oh, there. Well, actually, hold on here. So it'll be Diamond Soul for the saving throws. It'll be Purity of Body for the immunity to poison, and I guess I do have to give Evasion my third spot, even though it is technically something other classes have. But then it'd be followed by like the martial arts, which is good. But
Alright, so Diamond Soul. Diamond Soul.
proficiency in all saving throws, and a reroll with a key point.
That's definitely one of them. That's one of them. Then Purity of Body. That's. I think I'm gonna go with Diamond Soul, Purity of Body, and Tongue of the Sun and Moon.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like,
Be you do like being able to talk to people.
Diamond Soul would be one. Uh, Tongue of the Sun and Moon would be two, and Purity would be three. And
Alrighty.
why I'm giving the only reason why I'm giving Diamond Soul and Tongue of the Sun and Moon 1 and 2. The only reason why I'm gonna because I feel like there's a lot of moments where I'm talking to people where I can get like a proficiency roll, and I'm just like, hey. Like, you know how I've been enjoying more talkative characters lately, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like this would suit it so well. And then just the purity of that. I just love the idea of just walking through a poisonous forest, breathing in the fumes, just like, those flowers smell nice. Ugh.
It puts his face in right next to a flower that looks like a full-on ass, and it just farts in his face. Ah, oh, lovely. And then he just it like parted his eyebrows and pushed his hair back like one of them stank clouds. And then there's a tree that got touched by the fumes and it just rotted all the way down.
uh,
Or it's one of those trees that smells it and then grows a nose for the whiff and like and just wilts to nothingness.
fucking Tom and Jerry cartoon, just like,
Exactly.
oh.
Anyway, that's an
But
hour and
no.
13